Welcome to the How Did We Get Here podcast, where your thought gets caught. It's your boy MarWayne.
What's going on, y'all? It is Gabe. How y'all doing?
Fantastic. And on today's episode, which is titled "Who's Your Daddy?" It'll be
Who your daddy?
It'll be a Father's Day episode. We have a very, very special guest with us today, who needs no introduction. He's someone very special to me, family, friend, however you want to put it. It's Mr. H.D. Picasso we have here with us today, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank y'all for having me, man. Thank you for having me.
Welcome,
Pleasure to be here.
friend.
Pleasure to be here, man. Good seeing y'all. Ain't seen
Good
y'all in a
seeing
while,
you.
man.
I was just about to say, it's been a very long time, at least for me and you. It's been years.
Years, yeah, for
years. But it's very good to see you, King, seeing that you're doing well, seeing that everything is good. You look good. You're feeling good, okay?
Yeah.
I see the chains on. You look
Yeah,
okay.
man, I'm trying,
We love
man.
good jewelry, okay? Can't you a good jeweler, okay?
So, like I said, today's episode will be called "Who's Your Daddy?" where we're gonna, kind of dive into some, Father's Day topics, fatherhood topics, talking about the importance of fathers in the Black community, right? You being a brand new dad yourself.
For sure.
So,
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. My little man, 7 months now.
Oh,
Jahad,
he's
man.
a new baby. Come on.
Yeah, little
okay.
Rory, man. That's my heart and soul
Come
right
on,
there.
7 months. Yes,
sir.
We love to see it. Yes, we had chose, because of the fact that, June is Father's Day month, and, we want to talk about, Mar and I are very big on Black men being in our lives, Black men in general, mental health, all of that. So we chose to definitely dive into discussing all of this and discussing fatherhood and HD himself being a new father and the things that he has been through with fatherhood as well. We just thought that you would be a great guest of coming in and talking about everything.
Keeping me in mind for sure.
Yeah, of course. So beforehand,
first segment.
Yeah, before everything, let's start off with the week. How was everybody's week? How was everybody? It's been a little while. Listen, y'all, first and foremost, I just want y'all to know, I know it's been a little while.
Okay, can we talk about it?
Niggas be busy.
Well,
okay, I just had a
happy birthday. I was literally about to say happy birthday.
Thank you so much. I'm still celebrating. It's still Gemini season.
Clearly, because we in the month of June.
It's still Gemini.
Right.
As a Gemini, we started our birthday.
You done knocked out the whole month of May.
Listen, we start technically from Taurus season, and then we go through Cancer season. It's still our season. Crazy. I just want that to be known. But listen.
So, let's start off with that. How was your week, Gabe?
My week was great.
Your month.
My month in general was amazing. Well, yes, my month in general
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. My month in general has been good. Just getting in acclimated into my new space, my new area. My birthday was great. I did nothing. I did nothing.
What you mean?
I took off work for almost a week and a half. And I literally did nothing. I went out of town probably one weekend, and on my actual birthday, I took myself out to a nice little dinner, and my life was the gym and home.
Good for you.
Utah.
You know what I'm
saying?
Good
for you.
That was literally all I did, and it was amazing.
I wish you would have brought your black ass over here to the KO Cafe so we could have recorded an episode.
Well, the weekend,
but that's all right.
We wanted to record. That's when I was out of town.
That's all right. That's all right. But
somebody invited me somewhere.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
New year, new age, new levels. You know what I'm saying? God is good. God is good.
Good.
How about y'all? What y'all been up to? You having babies. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, for me, my week, my month since the last time we spoke has been good. With this episode and the topic that we're talking about, fatherhood, doing this with this podcast and everything like that, I got to tell you, it's a lot of self-reflecting. There was an episode that we did. I can't remember if it was the second or third, but we had talked about the different things that we try to incorporate as fathers. I think it was a question you asked me. And I think the answer I gave was something along the lines of just being goofy and having fun, and those are things that I do. But after looking at that and looking at my answer and then really taking a step back and looking at what I'm really doing, I could be doing so much more. And since then, you know what I mean, I've tried to do a little bit more as far as having fun with the kids, you know what I mean, and making that time, because it's important. And you know,
I love that, friend.
My son, you know what I mean, he's kind of delayed speech right now, and that's a hard thing for me to really talk about, just being honest. But you know, the last month or so since he's been in school for a few months. Yes. The last few weeks, bro, have been like a total 180. Like, I
love it.
You know, with the mommy and daddy and the ABCs and just everything. It's just like it's all starting to come full circle, and he's like really starting to take advantage of being around other little kids and stuff like that. Because it's different, man. It's so different. Leilani got a chance to stay the night over at her god sister's house, John and Jerica. You know John and Jerica, right? Because it's been a minute since you've seen them. They have moved over to Freehold, so it's been a minute since they seen them. So she got to stay the night over there, and the next day we went and picked her up. And they were even saying like, "Oh my God, it's been so long since we seen Layden." Because when Leilani and Livy were that age, they were around each other all the time. Yeah. So it's so weird because like they have a little girl that's literally Layden's age. She was born 2 months after Layden. Right. Layden's February 7th. She's April 7th, and they barely see each other. Yeah. And it's just because, you know, life happens, you know.
That's how it is, though.
But yeah, you know, it's just it's good to be around.
You know
family.
what it is too. The second kids don't never get the luxuries of the first ones.
Yeah,
y'all first kids. You know what I'm saying? Y'all always was able to go outside with mom and dad, do all the parties, do all that shit.
They had no choice.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but then you know, us second kids, we don't get all that.
We can't bring two of y'all. We can't bring two of y'all.
That sucks.
It's one or none.
Tired of staying motherfucking home.
One or none, and most of the time is none. So
then we was stuck babysitting the second kids.
See, it was different with us. With us, like I don't know how, but like because it was me, Ashley.
Yeah, you and Ashley was kind of close in age.
Jayla, Jason, and we just all we was always together.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's the one thing.
Bianca, Triasia, and them. You know what I mean? Like we was always together. Like
y'all had community. As little kids, y'all was able to stick together.
And that's tough nowadays. One thing
from back in the day too that we don't have now.
You don't have that nowadays. Leilani really didn't have that. Right. She was lucky to have her god sister because her god sister was literally only 1 year older than her, so they was always around each other. You don't have that like that nowadays. Even though Layden has that with, you know, their little sister. Life. I don't know. I don't know the exact answer for it, but that's just what it is. But
you're doing what you got to do, though.
But yeah, like I said, I'm excited because Layden's doing this thing. So that's my week.
That's good.
How was your week?
My week was pretty good, man. I coach my stepson's flag football team.
Nice.
So we just came off a win on Friday.
Talk about fatherhood.
Yeah. Okay. Like so, I've been a father for a little while now. I've been in his life since he about to be 10 in July. Yeah. I've been in his life since he was 1, literally.
Oh, wow, okay. I love that.
Yeah. And he is the funniest little boy, bro.
Reggie,
you ever seen that one picture that went viral?
No.
He went viral.
He went viral,
He got a picture where
because he literally made the same face he was when he was a baby. Yeah. And then like fast forward, he's still making the same face.
Send that so we can actually put that up.
Yeah.
I feel like this. I mean,
you had to have seen it.
I'm good. I'm literally the gift king. I have.
He should be a gift for sure.
I have.
Let's make that happen.
He's a super meme.
Let's make Lil Reg a gift.
Literally gifts and memes. I have a whole folder. So I probably
you probably got him in there and ain't even know it was him.
Even know.
Word up.
That's
crazy.
So wait, which town do you coach?
Out in Manalapan.
Love it.
Yeah, it's flag football. You know what I mean?
Nice.
I enjoy it. I get a kick out of it because it's like, you know,
that's something that
football. We played football. Sure. You know, football was like literally our first love. Basketball, but football was definitely one of my first loves. So it's like me getting out there, being able to, you know, get them game on things I learned, and you know what I'm saying, just letting them have fun and have a ball. You know what I'm saying? So
that's one of the main things, though.
Yeah, that's all it's about.
Besides that,
you know, I'm always constantly working on music. You know what I'm saying? I'm currently I'm on home confinement, house arrest. Now, I mean, I had to get approval to come here today. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we thank God.
At the end of the day, I had to make this. You know what I'm saying?
You said, "Cuz, yo, listen, I need you to put this together. Like, this is what they looking for. Like, they not trying to really, make it happen. So yeah, we definitely figured it out.
Shout out to you for making it happen.
Yeah,
we love to see
I
it.
appreciate y'all having me here.
Of course, we had to.
For real. And so like a lot of my time is literally like consisted of me being at home. Right. Which is nothing wrong with it, because now I have a lot of time to really just lock in with the family, with my girl, with my sons. You know what I'm saying? Both of them. Like, Jahari, he only 7 months, but I'm just watching the progression is just like,
oh yeah,
it's fast.
Even at the young age,
it's fast. Like, and I'm loving it.
He look just like you.
You do. Thank you.
He look just like he do.
You hear that? You hear that, Shamira?
Nah, he do. He do. And it's not because they always say it's like, oh well, that's because that's who I know out of the two. I know both mom and dad. Yeah. And it's not to say he doesn't have any mom's features. I'm sure there are definite features on him from mom.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I've seen baby pictures of this nigga right here. Right. So when I see his son, I'm like, that's his son. That's yours. You know what I mean?
That's how we were with your kids too. Leilani and
my kids are just light skinned, so
listen,
they exact copy. They exactly look like they daddy. That's what it is. But we ain't gonna skip too far for that football topic, because I see you came in here with this Eagles jersey on. Like you trying to make a statement? What did you?
Oh, okay, they flying.
I don't play. About
you thought I was gonna come here rocking? You thought I was gonna come here rocking the best team in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I don't play about that.
You thought I was gonna? I got it tatted on me too. I just can't.
It's kind of my nationality.
It is tatted on me too. But what you thought I was gonna rock the best team in Pennsylvania in here or something?
I mean, I had to.
You was prepared. You didn't know what I was coming with. Because I'm dying.
You know I'm petty.
You know I'm dying.
So you know the reason I do know that because
I do know that. Tom,
you know that.
That's all right though. No, it looks good.
Football talk.
Thank you, man.
Looks good.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. But yeah, man.
So nice.
All right, so let's get into the next segment, which is the how did it get started?
How it started segment. So this time we're gonna do in this segment, you guys already know how it is. We always talk about things that we talk about in our past and so on and so forth, but we're gonna do a little fire round and a few questions. So because of the fact that we're talking about fatherhood, we want to talk about some fun, thought-provoking questions that I want to ask. And one of them is, what is your favorite memory that you've ever had with your father or a father figure? What is one of the favorite and best memories that you've ever had with anyone?
For me, honestly, I think my favorite moment with Pops was the moment he came home, man. Because my father, shout out to my Pops, man. He did a lot of time as when I came up as a kid. So like he was like kind of in and out, but he always made up for that. You know what I mean? So there was this time when he came home, he grabbed all his kids, because he got six kids all together. He grabbed all his kids, and we just went down south to North Carolina, and we went to go visit my family out there.
Love it.
And that was like one of the best times, because it was like all my brothers and sisters was together. You know what I'm saying? And we went to King's Dominion, which is like a little amusement park in VA. And we just had a ball, man. Like,
I love that.
Yeah, that's one of my, like, I can remember that verbatim. Like, you know what I mean?
I feel like those are always like one of the main things as far as growing up. You always have to have those memories, especially like in fatherhood and all of that, especially like when you have, that's why I also asked, because I didn't know if like, if you had your dad in your life. Yeah. So with specific people, there's certain moments, good or bad, that happens. And that you always like have that, okay, that's always going to be in the back of your mind. Sure. So especially as fathers and men, we always have to make sure. And I think that that's something that we know we have to stay present. Even though when we're not present, when we come back, we got to stay present.
Well, perception is reality.
Exactly.
Like you just said, the situation, you could look at it, depends on what kind of lens you're trying to look at it through. You could look at it negatively, or you could look at the positive from the situation. Right. It was unfortunate that my dad was away, but when he came home, he made up for it like he was never away.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
And that's what I love, because there's certain men out there that don't do that. Right. But your dad made sure.
Yeah, he made sure
that
with all
that
his
happened
kids
for all of his kids.
Jahad's dad is pretty much my godfather. You know what I mean?
Godfather, all that.
That's my first barber. Like, that was my first barber.
Oh.
I'm gonna tell you something. Listen, we talk about gentle parenting. That's been a topic on episodes. Like, you know, my parents have given other figures and parents the authority. You know what I mean? And I remember times being in that chair, like trying to get my hair cut and not cooperating. And
fuck your ass up.
Yeah, did you see that video with Fantasia? Where them belts at? Yeah, where them belts at? For real, that's a real thing. But yeah, you know, I even think about a time when, you know, when your dad had came home. We was in a grocery store, and I think we had put some candy in our pocket or some shit like that. And your pops had found out. And he didn't go off or nothing like that. But as a 30-something-year-old man now, I'll never forget the conversation and how serious he was when he was like, don't you ever put anything in your pocket. Don't you ever give somebody a reason to take away your freedom. And that stuck, you know what I mean? Regardless of whatever mistakes I made after that, because I was a kid, you know what I mean? So I made plenty of mistakes as an adult, but those words in that moment is seared in my brain. Like, I'm never going to forget that. You know what I mean? I understand that because I understand behind the scenes and the bigger picture of everything. But
what about for you, friend?
I was going to say, to stay on topic, I think I've said it in previous episodes, like times when I used to, when my dad, you know, taught us how to swim. Times when I was swim back and forth to the pool. Like, those are great moments that, you know, I remember with my dad, and I'll never forget. A weird moment I was just thinking about, and speaking of the water, my dad kept us in the water. It was because you remember we lived right by the pool.
Hell yeah.
There was a class trip when I was like in elementary school, and my dad was one of the chaperones, which is very rare, you know what I mean? Like, so he happened to be one of the chaperones, and he had went down a slide before I did, and I was so anxious and so not listening, which sometimes I sit there and get so frustrated with Leilani, but she's just like me. But anyway, I go down the slide right after him, and he's still at the bottom, and I run into him, and I didn't really hurt myself too bad, but I hurt myself enough to where, you know what I mean, I needed my dad. And sure enough, my dad, being the superhero that he was, like, picked me up, you know what I mean? He was right there. He was one of the chaperones. So, yeah, so I was just, I don't know, that just came to my mind when you asked the question, thinking about that. So I'll give that as the answer.
I love that. That's one of the things I always wish my parents were chaperones at my shit.
Again, very rare. That wasn't like what happened all the time.
I think that was like a rare thing in black people too. We ain't never, because we always have to go to work.
Not for nothing. Well, listen, I watched a video the other day that was saying, listen, just because I grew up in this area, no, Dave Chappelle said that shit. He was like, just because I grew up in white suburbia didn't mean
that I didn't live the life as a black man.
Right.
Absolutely.
My parents made just enough for us to live
double,
there.
Double as much because of the area.
He was talking about like, because he was like celebrities and rappers and shit, like Nas and shit, they don't correct him or whatever. Like he acts as if he came from the projects. Dave Chappelle ain't come from the projects. He lived in the suburbs. You know what I mean? But when they were, when they was talking about it, it was like, growing up in the projects, and he'd be like, you know, just agreeing with him, whatever. But he would talk about when he grew up and where he lived, it was just enough. You know what I mean? His parents made just enough for him to live where he lived, but it wasn't all nice like that. He would go to stay at Timmy's house for the weekend, and everything in Timmy's house works. So he'd go back home like, why does everything in Timmy's house work? Like, what are we doing? What are we not doing? So, you know, but as an adult, you look back and you appreciate the fact that our parents had to go double time to put us in those positions, in those situations. So
I definitely did appreciate that as I grew up.
That's why it was very rare that they were chaperones.
Absolutely. My parents ain't never chaperoned shit. I can tell you that right now. K through 12.
I think that was the only time my dad ever did that.
K through 12. I ain't never seen my parents.
So I was blessed for that.
Trip. They signed them papers, though. So I was grateful.
So actually, before you go,
okay.
Speaking of fathers, actually, that's a great time that I want to talk about. Okay. And I think we've talked about it on previous episodes when your ass stayed outside of your house.
Yes.
And we had partied at somebody's house down the street from my house, ended up crashing out there, woke up in the morning, walked to my house, and your dad was camped outside of my house.
Steakhouse.
And we seen him, but we still went inside my shit. And my dad was cool, like, because I already talked to him. He knew what was going on, so it wasn't no problem. But a few minutes later, your dad comes knocking on my door. To my dad opening the door, like, can I help you? And your dad with the, your son is influencing my son and this, that, and that. And my dad went off. Was like, you ain't coming up here with that. And pretty much from there, Gabe's ass was not allowed at my house. Yeah. My dad would still let him over there, but whenever he would come over there, he was cussing him out. So that was a great father moment. Yeah, he wasn't gonna let nobody tell him anything about his kids, whether it was true or not. Right. You not telling me about my kids. Right.
But then
I'll handle mine.
And in the same sense, my dad was like, the person that you hanging around with, your son is a bad influence to my son because my son is used to the church and he's supposed to be in Bible study right now. And that nigga's out here partying. That's one thing I would say for me, a memory for me. One of the best memories I would have for my dad is kind of the fact that he was always supportive in a sense. Yeah. He was always supportive. Definitely my number one, especially like with me in music. He was always that one for if it was gospel music. I was doing McDonald's Gospel Fest every single year, doing All Shore Chorus. He got me into classical music. I was doing musical training, all of that stuff. So he was always supportive with that. One of my memories I remember is one time it was pouring down rain and I had to go from the shore, and while this probably doesn't sound far, but from Asbury Park to Newark for McDonald's Gospel Fest, that's like a good 45 minutes. 50 minutes. Yeah, so driving 7 o'clock at night to go do this little competition audition, and it was me and my dad on the Parkway. My dad never drives on the Parkway. Never. And he made sure he did that day. And I was like, okay, that was one memory. I always remember that. And another thing for me, for my dad is, again, that he's always been supportive. I stress my parents the fuck out. I can say that now as being an adult, I stress them the fuck out. But one thing that, he gonna stick by. He gonna stick by me. That nigga a rider. Yeah. That's the Libra in him, I feel like. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because he's the same way with his wife. That she can do no wrong.
Right. Yeah. That's
no wrong. I could tell my dad a whole soliloquy of the wrongdoing of why I think that his wife. He was like, you should never talk to her like that. And I'm like, you know what? I aspire.
That's his queen. You ain't gonna tell him nothing bad about her.
But then the same way he defends her, he would do the same with me if it was somebody else.
He's a rider.
I respect it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So yeah, that's definitely one memory. So another thing that I want to discuss is, what's one thing that you want to make sure that your kid always hears from you?
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, proud of you. I love you.
I'm proud of you. Yeah.
Sure. Just never be afraid to be who you are. You know what I'm saying? Don't think that, because you might have a speech impediment or you might not learn as fast as the others or whatever. It don't matter what it is. Just embrace it and just be you.
Yeah, be you. Always be you.
Always be you.
Always be you.
Is that from, I'm asking, is that from you also getting that from your parents, or is that from a lack of? What was there a lack of support or something that you never really heard?
It was that was coached.
They were always were.
See, I ain't gonna lie. When I was a kid, I used to be a little self-conscious because I had some big ass lips.
Okay,
so it was like I didn't necessarily let people know that I was insecure about that. But
in the back of your mind,
in the back of my mind, I used to, when I was youngest, I used to be like, oh, Mom, why my lips so fucking big, bro? You know what I'm saying? But she got big ass lips.
Right. I was gonna say your mom is beautiful.
You know what I'm saying? Beautiful woman. You know what I'm saying? And she used to just tell me like, yo, you are a handsome young man. Exactly. Don't let nobody tell you different. If somebody tell you different, then that's something that they got wrong with them.
Embrace what makes you.
That shit. Yeah. I genuinely did. So if anybody ever made fun of me about my lips, I'm like, yo, that's why they was on your girl, nigga. Like, you know what I mean? Shit like that.
There's no shade.
That's how, listen, 1-2, real quick, 1-2. That's how we,
the girls love them some lips, honey. Again,
it's crazy because very similar. When I used to, we played ball all our lives. Football, I played football in Ocean, right? So you ain't really experienced that, right? You was playing in Asbury and Monmouth Regional, right? I played in Ocean. Pop Warner, when we was playing Pop Warner, bro, I'm playing with all these young white boys, and there's nothing against them, but most of them have these like real skinny ass legs.
Yeah.
Real. I'm not even trying to be funny, but I'm being so serious. They had these real skinny ass legs, and as a kid, Pop Warner, I had these damn tree trunks. Right. These tree trunks, like my calves was mad big, and I swear to God, kid you not, you could ask Joyce on everything I love. You could ask Joyce. There was one day when I was mad young, I asked her like, "Mom, why are my legs so big? Everybody else's legs is these nice little like petite little things. Why are my legs so big?" And she said, "Jamar, are you kidding me? Why do you think you're so much faster than everybody?"
Okay.
Your legs are like that because that's how God made you.
Yes,
foundation. So you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just embracing it. So like you have those little insecurities, growing up, but you don't admit that to nobody.
Right.
Nobody that can take advantage of that other than your moms and somebody that you can feel vulnerable with. But
you know what I think as well, but us being black people as well, black men, I feel like that we always words of affirmations matter.
Yeah.
Giving you words of encouragement matters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then let's be real, stroking our ego matters.
Yeah.
So because we like that shit.
But who else is going to do it?
Exactly. So if you ain't going to do it for yourself, who else isn't going to do it? But then, however, in the same breath, we were raised with people that knew that.
Yeah.
So they taught us of giving us those words of affirmation, telling us that, nigga, you look good. Probably not saying it like that, but boy, you look good. You fine. Don't worry about what those others think or say, because at the end of the day, you look perfectly fine. If you think that you need a change, that's one thing about at least for me with my parents, because for me, I was a hefty man. So, I was raised, I was a big boy. So my parents, they gave me words of affirmation of always saying that, like, yes, you look good. You're very handsome. They always said I was handsome and all of that. But however, they also said, well, you may need to lose a little bit of weight. It may help you out a little bit, which in hindsight, it wasn't the best way to do it. But I got it because of the fact of, I understood that, like, listen, at the end of the day, people may say, like, Gabe, you don't look the best, but you're only saying that because of the fact that I may be larger. You ain't saying nothing about this face, though, because this mug.
So would you say that's something that so go ahead and answer the question.
I would say for me that it would be a little bit different, because my parents, they did it a little bit differently because of the fact that they gave me, I'm sure that your parents probably gave y'all tough love, but for me, it wasn't always words of affirmations for me. They didn't always tell me. I barely got I love yous from my parents. So I kind of had to give myself the self-love that I needed. And that's one thing, like when I do have children or when I do have kids, that's something that I'm going to do, is provide the same thing as y'all, that you guys do with your kids. Give them those, I'm proud of you.
Because I can say this.
All of that.
I can say this, and I think Jahad would agree, because I think we came up pretty similarly. I got my ass whooped.
Oh, well, yeah, but I did as well.
I would, like, of course, but what I'm saying is, like, at the same time, I felt like the I love you and be yourself and I'm proud of you
was just as much.
Was just as much, if not more.
I didn't receive that.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, no, I didn't, and I feel like that.
Would you agree? Like,
no, for sure,
like we got our ass whooped.
Yeah,
and we could tell you stories. Like we'd be here for days telling you stories of getting whooped together.
Yeah, I think that the reason why that
I think that I love you was always there, though.
The way that West Indians and the way that Haitians raise their kids, they don't. I feel like that they just don't know how of like showing that affection. So like their way of showing affection is providing and just supporting and just like
the fact that you here and you breathing.
Here right now and you got clothes on your back and I'm over here.
That's
feeding
the
your
I love you.
Ass.
That's the I love
you.
Yeah.
Okay, right. But that was that. But like. Every now and again, yes, I did hear like, my mom, in Creole, like, say like, look how handsome that boy. But that's always like when I'm wearing like a church suit or like when it's Sunday and I'm about to, do some shit. Like, if I'm wearing some shit like this, then her ass ain't gonna say no shit like that. But that's, again, I had to learn and teach myself that. I had to teach myself self-love. I had to teach myself affirming who I am and affirming that I'm the shit and that nigga and that I'm proud of you and regardless of what you're going through, you're gonna be okay. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't necessarily receive all of that growing up. Yeah. While my father was supportive, it wasn't necessarily vocal as much. He showed his support through action. When I feel like as black men, we kind of need a mixture of both.
For sure. Definitely need a balance. Yeah.
We definitely need that balance because again, we like our egos stroked. So like, while that may be a part of it, but also it just helps us grow and,
More than just being a black man, because, I'm just saying as a father of a daughter, that those affirmations are extremely important as well, especially coming from a man. Yeah. Right? Because eventually, if that's what she chooses, when she leaves the house and she wants to find a husband, right, and find a partner, you would want that man to be someone that's respectful and that's going to take care of her, the way that she deserves to be taken care of. And a big part of that is her knowing her self-worth. And she's only going to know that if you give her those affirmations. And being present, exactly. So action and vocal.
So I agree. Let's talk about this. So let's actually dive into the next this next segment, which is the power of presence and being present in your kid's life. What did fatherhood look like to you in your household and in your life growing up?
All right, so my household, like I said, my father, he spent a deal of time incarcerated, but so it was me and my mom for a little while, and then she had my little sister. But once my father came home, he was very, very, very present. You know what I mean? Like very present. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to the point where he was at all the football games, all the basketball games, tryouts, whatever. You know what I mean? Boxing, he put me in boxing, karate, like he was very, whatever I wanted to do, he supported 100%. He was always there. One thing about my father is crazy. As much as my mom whooped my ass, I could literally count on one hand how many times my father.
That's the same thing with me.
Real talk, like it's crazy. And
my
I used
mom
to
beat me
I used to say some shit.
He used a different method.
Like it was different, facts. Bro. And like I remember the one time the nigga put his hands on me. Damn near sent me through the wall, but like, cause I was talking crazy to him. I was in the 4th grade. I said some crazy. I don't even remember what I said, but it was borderline of crossing the line. I crossed the line. No, I did. Right. But he then there threw me through the wall, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? But right after that, he like, yo, I never want to put my hands on you, bro. He never put his hands on my mother. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, my father is, to me, in my eyes, is a true definition of a man, man. Like, the nigga came home and got his master's degree. That was like a proud moment for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, he went from being incarcerated to being a scholar, nigga. Now you gotta call him doctor because he got his doctorates now. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Shakur is crazy. That's crazy work, bro.
That's amazing.
That's crazy work. So like, I'm very, very proud of my father, and I know I don't say that as much as I feel like I should. You know what I mean? We definitely talk probably like once, twice a week sometimes. You know what I mean? We went times where we ain't talked for a while, but the love is always there. It's like he always makes his presence felt to this day. You know what I mean? Sure. And he's gonna always tell you about yourself. Always, like whether you hear it or not.
I remember when you first came home, and you had got that manager, and everybody was at your dad's house in Neptune. We were celebrating. I just remember there was this moment where your dad was like really grilling this manager, like questioning her down. Like I wasn't a part of the conversation, but you could see the energy. You know what I mean? Like he was like really like grilling her down, asking her mad questions, and they was off to the side for a minute. So like. That just always attested to me, like the type of presence and father figure that MarWayne was to you, and how he always tried to make sure that his presence was felt, and it's not in the unorganic way. It was always 100% genuine. He
was attentive.
For sure. Very attentive. Very.
And like you said, when he came home, more than just being a part of your life, you have all your siblings. Right, you know what I mean? As a part of their lives as he is, he was a part of the community as well.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like I say,
that's what matters.
Most people, I knew him. He was my first barber,
outside
of being my godfather. But I could mention him, and anybody in the hood know who I'm talking about. His presence was felt not just with his family, but with the community as well. So, big ups for your dad. What it looked like for fatherhood inside my home. Listen, man, my dad, he went to work.
I miss Mike, man.
Oh, miss him every day.
Mike, man.
Miss him every day. He went to work. The days he didn't go to work, he chilled. And he hung out with his family, and he used to get lit up. That's what it was. You know what I mean? Like, and you could ask my dad, like, why do you drink so much? He was like, because I can afford it.
I know that's right. That's a good answer.
He's like, if you can afford to do
grown ass man answer,
right? If you can afford to do what I do, then it's nobody's business.
It's nobody's business.
Right. So that's what it was, and that's just what I had to take. I learned at a young age from my dad, and this is something I never say around my kids because I don't want to put that in the universe. I don't want them even thinking like this. But my dad never wanted to grow old. He said that more than once. You could ask Ashley, you could ask my mom. My dad never wanted to grow old. He never wanted to be in a position where he had to be taken care of. So it's not to say that, and I just try to find peace in it, that he was trying to, take himself out early or nothing like that. Life just happened. Right. But he was never in the business of thinking about the long game and thinking about being an old man. He was never about that. So,
he lived in the moment.
Yeah. So just to answer the question, like I said, it was just what I saw as far as fatherhood in the home as growing up. He went to work, he paid his bills, and he did what he wanted to do because he could do it. As long as it wasn't hurting nobody directly, again, he wasn't looking at the long game. Wasn't hurting nobody in the moment directly, right then and there, but, over time. Yeah. So that's what that is.
So we're saying that you guys being fathers, you being a new dad, and then you being a father for, 10 scores and 12 years ago.
Don't do that.
Since your ass has been a dad since motherfucking
nigga, I've been a dad since you met me, nigga. I've been sonning y'all niggas forever. Talking about.
All right, Nicki Minaj.
Right. Been a dad since you met me, nigga.
Okay. And now everybody's his son, Sonny. Okay. All right, so now speaking about that, so in what ways did fatherhood, how did it shape you guys as being a father now, and how, how were you guys raised, and how the things and the attributes that your fathers gave you, what ways did that shape you in your identity and how you now raise your kids?
Significantly, man. I basically took notes from my dad. You know what I mean? Like, however he was with us, that's how I am and plan to be with my kids. You know what I mean? Whether it's like disciplining, like I'm more so going to take to the approach of talking to them. I'm sitting them down, explaining like, yo, if you do this, this is going to happen.
Right.
So if you want that to happen, by all means, you feel me? But just know
this is going to be the result.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, not saying that an ass whooping might not happen, because it could happen.
Right.
If you cross that line. You know what I mean?
Do you consider a pop hitting your kids? Like a pop, like a, hey.
Here we go.
Would you consider that hitting your kids?
Not really.
Okay, that's it. Not
really.
I'm sorry. Continue. Go ahead.
Nah, because it's like
it's
almost like just making them aware, like, yo, chill, don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, and it's hot.
Yeah, don't do that.
He asked that because of the fact that we had a previous episode, and I stated that is, you're still hitting your child.
And our live viewers stated,
okay,
that what it ain't.
No.
Yeah,
it's necessary. It's necessary.
Yeah,
hitting your kids is like, you got to grab an object, or it's obviously like you know what I mean? Repeat.
So I used to all right. I'm gonna say one little story about when I got my ass whipped. We talking about the fathers.
Of course.
Let me switch it over to Mom Dukes for 2 seconds.
Right.
I love you, Mom. You my rock and all that. But you used to hand me my ass, like put it in my hand. But nah, real talk. It was a time I remember she was asleep watching American Idol, bro. She was asleep though.
Not
knocked
Jennifer
out.
Hudson.
Word is bond. So I'm probably about 12. We just moved.
Oh yeah, that was definitely
just
Jennifer
moved.
Hudson days.
Word up. I took the car to McDonald's.
Damn.
Took the car to McDonald's. I see my boys
At
over
12
there.
years old?
12. Oh yeah, I was into that.
No,
he was
wild.
I was
You thought I was
into
wild? He was wild.
Oh no, I remember stories.
Yeah, I was into that.
I said I probably learned it from him.
Yes,
Yeah,
HD was very.
Yo, I see my boy because my boy lived across the street. This when I moved out to Eatontown and shit. So he lived right across the street from McDonald's. I'm like, what's up, cuz? Get in the car.
I'm fucking.
He looked at the car and like, bro, this your mom, bro. You're bugging. I'm not getting in that car so I can get my ass whooped with you. You tripping? I'm like, bro, she sleep, bro. You good? And my little sister done told my mom, like, Mom, where's the car? Where's the car? You know damn well.
You know where the car is.
Damn well, bro. She was evil for that. You feel me?
Taylor knew what she was doing.
She knew.
She knew what she was doing.
Anyways, I get back to the house. The coast seemed clear, bro. It seemed clear. I parked the car the same way. I was decent. She was 12-year-old, bro. I was a decent driver.
She was waiting for you to come in.
And I felt the what's that? The little hot comb that you plug in, the old one.
Ooh.
What? Pop, pop, pop over the head. I got a shoe thrown at me.
Oof.
That's ain't played.
Man, listen, bro.
Dez ain't never played.
She got busy with me.
Dez ain't never played.
She got busy with me. I'm like, whoa.
Remember when remember it was one of your sleepovers at the Stephen Manor when we had I think it was me, you, and I want to say Isaiah. When we was acting out at one of your sleepovers. It was a good like 7 of us or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was me, you, and one other person, but we was bugging the fuck out, like jumping off of furniture and shit.
He was tripping the
And your mom whipped all 3 of our asses, and we had to. She separated us. It's his sleepover for his birthday.
All y'all getting y'all.
But yeah, no, we got our ass whooped, and now y'all gotta go. Y'all can't be a part of the sleepover anymore.
And y'all all gonna get it.
Yeah, Dez
Before
ain't
you
never
go
played.
home,
Dez ain't never played.
Yeah.
That the time when we were supposed to be watching the Chucky movie. And we was back there watching the damn
Channel 69, Spice Channel.
Spice Channel
Porno.
69.
See, back in the day,
And Ashley ain't say nothing, so Ashley was the snitch, and Ashley ain't say nothing.
Not
So
my friend. Oh, my friend wasn't the snitch this time around.
no, she didn't snitch,
Good for her.
and that's what got her ass whooped because she didn't snitch.
Damn,
she got beat.
Yeah.
She got beat.
Yeah.
Everybody got beat.
Everybody got beat. Dez ain't
Spice
playing.
Channel.
That was the last time my
So we
friends-
had cable vision. It wasn't all this smart TV shit.
Yeah, streaming and
Channel
shit.
69. If you knew the channel,
You had to catch it. You had to catch it. You just
knew
had
what
to be
you
there.
was
you had to be there. Type
You had to be there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this real quick, HD. So let's share on. So you were talking about how your dad, he was in and out of jail. So let's talk about the presence of the father that you had, and how did it shape your path during your childhood and even growing up? Because you as well, you talked about how you were on house arrest and all that. So talk about your journey on that as well, of how fatherhood kind of shaped you into the man that you are now.
All right. So growing up, like my father had this reputation in my neighborhood to where he was just like he was known as like this big time D boy. You know what I mean? He was, you know what I mean? I ain't gotta go into too much detail,
Right.
but you know, so like I always held him in that regard, in a sense. Like I always was like, even though I was young and that was my mentality, I kind of always like looked up to him like how like, you know, you had to pay them full, the rich quarters.
Right.
That's how I see my dad.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Like
that
the
was my
BMFs and all
superhero.
that.
He's always been my superhero.
Of
But
course.
that's how I viewed him before the incarcerations and well, after he came home and shit like that. But once he came home, he showed me a different side of him. And I ain't gonna lie, in the beginning, it was hard for me to like get used to and adapt to it because one, he came home, he was full-fledged Muslim. You know what I mean? And I'm Muslim as well. He's the reason. I'm not gonna say that he's wholeheartedly the reason because, you know, you take that leap of faith on your own.
Yeah, you gotta go through that
You know
yourself.
what I mean? But he definitely was a major influence, you know what I'm saying, of me turning Muslim. But you know, he was very patient with me with that. And like I just started noticing little things. Like he stopped hanging around like my uncles, certain uncles that you know that I looked up to as well. He wouldn't be around them. He wouldn't. He ride through the hood. He literally ride through, like passing by. He ain't no stopping, kicking it, unless it's like a family gathering, and he probably there for 5-10 minutes and he gone. You know what I'm saying? So over time, I realized and I understood and I appreciated the transition. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it because, of course, he always dropped jewels and, you know, lectured me along the way. And like I said, he never was the type to put his hands on me. Never. Like, unless we was, like, sparring and he teaching me how to box and shit like that. Like, but other than that, like, he really was a stand-up dude, man. And, yeah, it reflects. It definitely reflects because I treat my stepson. I don't even really like using the word stepson because that's my son. You know what I mean? His father is actively in his life. You know what I mean? But he got 2 fathers.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a bonus dad.
Absolutely. And like how I am with him, like, you know, he looks at me as a father figure, as his father. Like I'm not
You're not trying to take the place of his father.
Yeah, I'm not trying to take the place of his father in no shape or form, but I'm there. You know what I mean? So it might be times where he giving his mom a hard time. Hey, yo, what she just say, bro? Get it done. Like, you know, don't make it hard.
And it's just about holding him accountable.
And I always sit with him and talk with him and let him know, like, yo, bro, like, at the end of the day, the things you do now and how you react to certain situations, it's gonna reflect. And not only that, bro, you have to. I'm big on being a hard worker. You know what I'm saying? Because he got this thing where he love money.
Right.
He need V-Bucks for Roblox and Fortnite and shit like that. Robux and V-Bucks, all that shit.
We gotta bind that demon.
Yeah, so I'm like, bro, you gotta earn that shit. You gotta earn it. Keep that room clean. Like, you know what I mean? We made this little proposition with him. Every time he scored, you give him a couple dollars.
Love it.
Man, this dude scores, bro. He scored 2 touchdowns the last game on Friday, by the way. He scored. As soon as he scored, he come to me.
Where my money?
Where my money at?
Bro, finish the game. Get the game. What you doing?
Where you gonna put it?
Yeah, bro.
As soon as he finished scoring,
he scored,
you gonna throw it
bro.
in your jockstrap, boy?
Yes, he just wanted that encouragement. Give him
finish the game.
You should have gave him $2 just to start off. I'm gonna give you the rest later.
I'm like, yo, bro, go ahead, bro.
But your position though, you know, and not being his actual father is so critical and so important.
It is.
You know, because you know that
it's even it's even better because of the fact that you're active in his life and doing what you have to do.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Because sometimes being as a father is like, you know, and not to say that this is how we view it, but some fathers out there feel like they're obligated to just be there, you know, for their kids. And so they don't put in that effort, you know what I mean? But the fact that you don't have to be there is already the effort right there. So, you know, anything that you do after that is just, that's what makes you a bonus dad. Yeah. So I think the question is like, you know, with everything that your pop's been through, you know, being incarcerated and everything like that, and then fast forward to you growing up and becoming, you know, into somewhat a man, you know, how does it feel you know, making those mistakes, knowing what you know about your dad and what he's been through?
I feel like my dad, a lot of this shit that he does now, I feel like he genuinely was doing to show me and my siblings, like, yo,
a different way.
You don't have to be like that. Y'all seen what I did. Y'all seen everything that I've been through. Y'all seen me in and out of jail, the prisons, the court dates, the visitations, like, did all of that. Y'all don't have to do that. You know what I mean? So when he came home, I feel like not only was he doing it for himself, but he was definitely doing it for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I didn't have to, like I told you, the transition for me was kind of hard when him coming home and him turning his life around, not dealing with certain people, staying out of the way. You know what I mean? Not dealing with certain organizations and shit like that. So do you
think that you kind of then, do you think you kind of held on to that?
Subconsciously, yes.
Subconsciously, because you didn't want to see, you didn't want to see that part of your dad that you got comfortable with, you know, viewing. through that lens.
used
Through
to
that
it.
lens, you was viewing them through one lens, and you didn't want to let go of that.
My dad was big time dope boy. That's what I know. That's what I kept in my head.
And even though he made sure that you knew that he was done with that.
Done with that shit.
Right, and he's trying to show you another way. You still subconsciously in the back of your mind held on to that.
Yeah.
And then throughout your life, growing up and becoming a man.
Growing up and me going through shit that he went through was like, damn.
You had to figure it out on your own.
Should have listened.
You had to figure it out on your own.
Should have listened.
But that's one thing I would say that with parents and with fathers as well, they always try to steer us away from the things that they had to go through. But I think that also us being men, we always are gonna you gotta
test the waters.
Exactly.
You gotta learn from the fire instead of the smoke.
Like you gotta
learn from the fire instead of the smoke.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you because as I'm sitting here listening to you and I'm because I know you, so I'm listening to unfold. I got my shit. You think if I had just paid attention to what the fuck my dad went through, I would have DUIs?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's a real thing. I had to learn from the fire instead of the smoke.
Same.
So I think sometimes us as men, it's like we get to a point where we feel so, is the word impervious? No.
Come on, SAT.
I'm saying
No, that might not be the word, but you feel like can't nothing touch you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Invincible.
Like invincible, right? But we're not.
You're not.
And a lot of times, because you go into a situation thinking you're invincible, you got to learn the hard way.
One thing that's good, though, once we do realize and once the reality does kick in, we notice, and because one thing that you always kept on saying, I always heard, is that your dad started moving different. Mm-hmm. That's one thing with me, especially I would say when I stopped drinking, I started moving different. I stopped hanging around specific people. I stopped saying yes to things, all of that. Yeah. Because when you make that decision of, I'm not about to keep on, because it's a repetitive thing. And we get tired of repeating the same bullshit and getting the same results.
Insanity. They said that's
exactly. So in order and that's one of the things as men, it may take us a little bit of time, but when it does happen, that's when that light switch happened, and that's when you start excelling.
For sure.
And you start doing your thing. So now let's talk about this. What are some of the biggest challenges as Black men and as Black fathers that you guys think that you guys have to face?
Oh,
especially now in this generation where everything is, we were just talking about AI, and all of that. And I was talking about how you guys now have to, I would say we, because who knows what could happen with me. I could have a surrogate one day. But but with you guys, with raising your kids, have to kind of teach them the balance of technology and real life in a sense. So
I'll start off. So that point that we made earlier in the episode is a huge point, right? Okay. Making sure that your kids understand, because what if you don't have technology? What if you don't have access to a GPS? Mm-hmm. You need to be able to read road signs, you know what I mean, and understand how to get around and navigate just generally. So that's very important. But I'm gonna say the main thing, the huge number one thing that is screaming in my brain is raising Black kids, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's been an issue for centuries, but it hasn't gotten any easier. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? And that's because, what do we still see on a regular basis is young Black kids being gunned down for damn near no reason. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can give a bunch of different examples, but young Black kids being gunned down, young Black kids being rights being violated, and it's I don't want to tell my child that they have to dumb themselves down and turn down their light to fit in a society that doesn't accept them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, what we said in the beginning of the episode, be you. I'm proud of you. Mm-hmm. Be who you are. I love you. You know what I mean? How can I tell them to turn down their light, to try to fit in? So it's tough. I think that's the toughest thing. You know, I'm afraid of my kids being racially profiled. Like I think that's the number one thing. If I'm gonna give you an answer.
I mean, this is early in the game.
I know.
I would say Leilani will probably be at the most at this point to maybe experience that. But do you feel like that at this point now that something like that could be going on, or are there any challenges even at their young age that that's something that you may be dealing with? Or are these more so challenges that you are?
These are challenges that I faced in my life,
right?
Yeah.
And I don't, we haven't experienced that as a parent.
Yet, right.
I haven't experienced that as a parent.
Gotcha.
But I've experienced that as a child
and as a black man.
Right.
And I've had my parents, you know, in my corner 1,000%, and understand, you know, what that feels like. So,
right.
so yeah, no, I don't know if I'm ready for that. We'll see. We'll see. That's the last thing I'm prepared for. I don't want that to happen. I don't want my child to be racially profiled.
Right.
And
that's
that's
so I don't know if I'm
something
prepared for that.
9 times out of 10, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No matter whether it's them going to middle school or high school and then dealing with a fake bully or whatever, or God forbid they get pulled over. Like I done been pulled over and been in the wrong car, and had an officer tell me if I make any false move that they're gonna shoot me. I've been told that before,
multiple times.
You know what I'm talking? Multiple times, just because of the life that I lived. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's like I definitely don't want my kids to go through that, but I will tell them that this shit is chess, man. This life is a chess game. You have to play it to the best of your ability.
Yep.
So if you are in the car and you see that there's an officer, I don't even care if it's a black officer. And sometimes they be the worst ones.
They be worse. Yep.
They be worse ones
That's
sometimes.
Facts.
Play it right. Play it safe. Make it home. Keep your hands where they can see them. Let them know everything that you need to let them know at the moment. Listen, I'm headed here. I don't have anything in the car, blah, blah, blah. I was on this. Like me personally, if I'm in the car, I'm letting the officer know, look, I've been on parole before. I'm on house arrest. You could check my car. I'm headed here. I have nothing on me. You know what I'm saying? I'm letting them know from the rip, letting them know everything they need to know. You can check the car. I'm going to beat them to the punch.
Right.
Check the car.
We gotta teach our kids to be thinkers.
Yeah.
And not reactors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? We have to teach our children to be logical,
especially as black men,
and not emotional.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think that's what happens a lot of times. Like, because like you said it, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be racially profiled.
You're gonna be.
But if you're not
10 times,
if you're not logically thinking versus reacting emotionally, that's your outcome.
That's a fact.
So
I agree.
So that's what that, you know, again, I'm still not prepared for it, like, because my babies are precious, they're angels, like, you know, of course they can be some badass kids, but they're still my babies, and I'm not prepared for the world to, you know, to unjustify them that way. But I gotta prepare them for it. And that's just what it comes down to.
I think that's all parents and all black parents itself, as even when we were being raised, those were the same scares that, you know, our parents were dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't shit changed, and things have stayed the same. And we've always had to understand that we have to move differently than these other motherfuckers.
And I think we knew that at a young age. Like, our parents, they taught us that, but I don't think we felt it.
We didn't.
Like we didn't know the gravity of it,
until it actually happened to us.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, with that, because of the fact of the great thing about it is, one thing is that all of us had our fathers in our lives, but we obviously know that, you know, there are people, and a lot of black men, they choose not to have, you know, a lot of fathers choose not to be there in their lives. So why do you think that some black men choose to leave or avoid fatherhood responsibilities?
Me personally, I feel like it's something personal between them and the woman.
And
you know what I mean?
Child's
Sometimes
mother,
it'd be like the woman probably broke their heart, or, you know, they did something petty to them, and now they taking it out for them taking it out on the woman, the kid has to suffer.
Right.
I feel like that's what majority of it is, or the father is either incarcerated.
I was just about to get into that.
Sometimes it'll be the mother. Sometimes it'll be like I take care of my kid on my own. They don't need you. Yeah. You know what I mean? And sometimes they don't give, because I personally I know brothers out there that want to be actively in their kids' lives, but the mother is giving them a hard time.
Well,
genuinely.
With that too, like a lot of them don't want to deal with the moms, right? But it has nothing to do with the kid, because it's just the reasoning. Yeah. It's the mom. I mean, majority of the time. I'm not saying all the time, but majority of the time, it's the child's mother for whatever reason, whether it be the fault of the child's mother or the fault of the father. It's something in that dynamic that's not right, and now the person suffering is the child, right? Mm-hmm. And incarceration. I
was just going to say, do you think that now let's go into a little bit deeper. Do you feel like that the systems, and because we just talked about racism and all of that, do you feel like that the way that the systems are, do you think that they purposely keep us away from our children?
Look at majority of
the economics, the way that we get paid as black men, the way that we go to jail, how the rates are. How do you feel like that's one of the reasons why? And how, I want to make it a positive also, how have you guys made it different at this point of not making it like, of the norm?
So to answer your question, yes, I agree that the system and the policies and the rate of pay and just everything, how it's laid out, is definitely targeted against us. Look at the population of your typical prison.
Right.
It's going to be majority of black men, right?
Sure. Black and brown.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
To answer the other part of your question, what we try to do to change that is like what Jahad's father has done for years. Move differently, but more than that, be a part of the community.
Right.
Being a part of the community, showing young people don't necessarily have to just be your child, but showing them a different way, right? And impacting lives that way. I think that's the best way to do it.
No, for sure.
So HD, for you, I want to let's talk about the emotional toll and barriers that it took for you on staying present in your son's life, your bonus son, because of the fact that you were saying that you've been in his life for over 10 years. But with your life and everything that you've been through, talk about the emotional toll that it took for you of being in and out and all of that, and even for your lady and now, like, your 7-month-old that you have now, what are some changes that you have done and are going to be doing because of those emotional things that you've been through in the past?
So in the beginning, like, because I did a 7-year bid, right? And I came home, when I came home from that bid, Reggie was only one. Mm-hmm. He was only one. So I was in his life from there, you know what I'm saying? And I've been incarcerated in between, same way my father was with me.
Right.
I used to lie to him. I used to say I was at a school, my job, you know what I mean? But over time, as he got older, when he got around like 7, 8 years old, I just kept it real with him. I told him what was going on. Look, I've done some things in my past that I'm still paying for, and that the system is still making me pay for. So I kept it real with them, you know what I mean? Because at some point in time, we have to let them know and give them the raw of what life holds and what can possibly happen if you decide to go down this way.
I was just about to say,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I definitely had that conversation with Reg.
Did you feel like or wish that you kept the G with him from the beginning?
Honestly,
you might not have been ready.
Not even that he wouldn't have been ready. He probably wouldn't have understood.
Maybe you weren't ready.
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to tell him.
But
you know what I mean?
It's good that you still eventually kept it real with him.
I kept it real
because you want him to get that from you.
Yeah.
Versus getting it from somewhere else. So you want him to be able to understand and digest that a certain type of way.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And he didn't.
And 7 is definitely a good age for a good headspace as well for people, for kids to understand. They know what's going on a little bit. and right and wrong.
Right.
And I'm sure that you've also, the way that you explained it, because of the fact that it's something from your past, one of the things that I always feel like that we should encourage is, you know, while what's the saying, like, you know, don't do what I say, or, you know, some shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Do as I say,
do what
not
I
as
say,
I do.
not as I do.
Not as I
Right.
do.
But I think as well, but when you told him, it's like, listen, as a black man, you need to understand that this is the consequences that I now have to go through.
Exactly. That's exactly how
because
I broke it down
of
to him.
A. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I may understand that little Jimmy may have not been going through them same things, that he probably did worse.
Mm-hmm.
But me as a black man, I have to deal with this. And this is what I need you not to do and not to deal with.
100%.
Understand?
And
You can't compare yourself to everybody else.
he definitely understands. And Reggie is a very bright kid. Like, he's very bright. You know what I'm saying? As far as, like, you know, my lady, you know, it's been rough, but we get through it. We get through it. At the end of the day, she knows me, and she knows that I'm working on myself for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? For the family, for my kids. So it's like, when you know you have that, and it's not just like a fling or, you know what I mean, a situationship. It's like, you're not gonna go outside of that. Yeah, you ain't gonna go outside of that and fuck that up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, right now I'm in a situation where I'm on house arrest, and I may possibly have to go back. Most likely I'm going back. You know what I'm saying? Because of the type of charge I got. You know what I'm saying? We had that conversation, and I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all. That's why I spend as much time with them as possible.
You're still here.
You know what I mean? While I'm here, and
of course,
make sure I can get as much done as possible. And just make sure that, you know, while I'm away, I set them up in a way where they're good.
Right.
They won't need nothing from nobody. They won't need to go here or there, or need assistance here. Nah, we got it. Or we got everything we need within our family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even if it's a little extended family, you know what I'm saying? We all got each other.
And that's actually what I was going to go.
So you on house arrest? You got the ankle monitor. How does that feel, being on your ankle? Like, I'm just curious.
It's annoying.
It's annoying as hell.
It's annoying.
Do you do like Medea did when she had an itch and she took the piece of butter and then the butter knife and was scratching her thing?
That wasn't an itch. She was trying to get it off, Gabe.
Ah, shit, she was.
She was trying to get that shit off. Yeah.
Yeah, nah, hell nah.
No, I don't think
I ain't putting no butter on there. That's fucking around start an infection or some shit. Yeah, hell no, man.
She sure was trying to take that bullshit off.
I ain't gonna lie, it do get irritating though from every now and then.
it's waterproof.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's waterproof. Get in the shower, all that shit. But it's
technology.
It's nuts. Annoying. But they've always had that though. But like, so okay. So not to dive too deep into what it is, but like, what exactly, how long was this like situation that you had? Like, this whole situation, was this a while, and then now you know that you are going to be? So the situation happened around last year. I'm not ashamed to say what happened. At the end of the day, I got caught with a gun. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I got caught with a gun on me. I was out in Asbury. And basically, you know. But you were on probation, basically. No. You weren't. I wasn't on nothing. You were good. I'm just not legally allowed to have a gun. Of course. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. You know what I mean? I was in the county jail for a little bit, and then I made bail. But I'm still currently fighting that case. Got you. I'm at a situation where I'm just trying to get the best situation possible, so I'm not away from my family. For a long period of time. Exactly. Gotcha. But they've been, like I said, cordial with me and allowing me, like they allowed me to be here today. They've been working with you. They know that I'm a signed artist as well, so they pretty much approve anything that I ask them that I want to go to. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not really an issue to get certain places. It's just the process. Right. Like, yo, I need to get this done. Like, they're like, I went to a show on Friday in New York. You know what I mean? I put that order in along with this one. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I don't want to give them too much. Because you don't want to say that's I don't want them to be like, because at the end of the day, it's still the government. It's still a government, you know what I'm saying? But so far they approved everything I asked to do. You
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
it's just the
process of it.
Annoying. Yeah. Like, I have to let them know everywhere. If I want to go to the grocery store, I gotta let them know. You know,
that's
like,
nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's nuts. So
it is.
Let's talk about community, because I know that you guys were just saying about how you, in your forming your community as well, and making sure that your kids and everybody is good before you go ahead and leave. So how do you guys feel that social media and community influences and plays a huge part in fatherhood and into y'all being fathers?
I think nowadays it plays a great part into it, just because you see more examples of it. Right,
online,
you see more examples of it through social media, right, and different platforms. Like, I think there's this shit that I follow called Watch Dads or something like that. Like, just different, things
little
like
men
that.
Groups.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, and there's actually been a couple of fellas that I know that I've been talking to about trying to create something like that, where, as black fathers, and it's not so much to just make it so specific as just being black fathers, but you know what? Hell, why not? You know what I mean? Like, let's make it specific.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We need more stuff for us anyway.
Because we do. We need more stuff for us.
Yeah, there's been a couple brothers that I've been talking to about that, just dealing with, like I said, like my son, he's, he has a speech delay, and there's been a couple brothers I've been talking to who have, sons and daughters that, have different things going on with them as well. So, just being able to feed and bounce off of each other and try to become better fathers. You know what I mean? So
I always thought that was always
I think it's huge. I think it's great.
I always think that social media and finding community in general is always a great thing. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that one of the things that I always said for me was that the fathers that I see now, they appreciate community and support from other black men because of the fact that they feel like that they didn't get that from their dads, or their dads didn't receive that from other people.
Right.
So how social media and community is now, I think that's a great, and how it's being formed is amazing. I love the fact that there's more men's groups, father groups, all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Great.
Building each other up. Even guys that, like your dad, how he changed his whole life from being incarcerated and now is a doctor. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he's doing a lot of community service stuff. Right. You know what I'm saying? I think that's always amazing and good to do,
Sure.
What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I really agree. I feel like social media is a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could either be used for good or it could be a waste of time. I mean, if you get caught up in all the other superficial shit, but if your timeline and your feed, like, I ain't gonna lie, my feed is nothing but religious and family
algorithm
stuff and funny, and funny shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm mindful of my intake.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I used to like have a whole bunch of crazy nonsense and.
It's a lot of crazy nonsense on there.
Yeah, after a while,
your mindset changes.
Your mindset changes, and you start to you just want more for yourself, and you want change. But I feel like a lot of that plays a major role into what you feed into on social media. You know what I'm saying? It's a major influence on your life. So, yeah, I do agree wholeheartedly, for sure.
So we are going to be wrapping up, y'all. So HD, talk about some things that you talk about, some final reflections and some things that you're working on. What you
HD
got in
Picasso.
What you got in the bag, in the motherfucking heater and shit.
What's going on?
You done said that you signed and whatnot.
Flight Life.
Okay.
Flight Life. Let's get to it.
So yeah, man. I'm always working on music, man.
This nigga can rap, y'all. I just want to say he can really rap.
And I got a project that's been long overdue. I was supposed to drop last year, but with all this legal issues going on, it kind of slowed everything up with the label and stuff like that. Sure. So I have a project that's coming out. Hopefully it should be out by the middle of the summer.
Okay.
Called The Bigger Picture. You know what I'm saying? And the name, it's self-explanatory. I mean,
HD.
Shit is bigger than me. It's the bigger picture.
Bigger picture
is the future. My kids, my family, the community. Like, you know what I mean? And like my music basically, like, I feel like it talks about what I've been through, what I'm going through, and where I'm trying to go. Basically, bottom line, you know what I mean? I feel like it's relatable to anybody, like anybody. I don't care if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a drug dealer on the streets, trying to get out, get away from the nonsense, whatever. You know what I mean? I feel like it's motivation music.
I love it.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I got that coming.
You have any new music? Any new music coming out?
Absolutely. I actually just shot a video for one of my songs called "Let Me Vent."
Okay.
And I shot that like 2 weeks ago out in Asbury. It's gonna be a movie when it drop. You know what I mean? So y'all look out for that. "Let Me Vent." It's dropping. It's coming soon. I got another single that's getting ready to drop. Steve and Stefan. You know,
that's the name of the song.
Yeah,
Steve and Stefan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I love me some Family Matters.
You know what I mean? So basically, the concept of that song is basically like, you know, like
the
going
GQ
from ashy to classy, like, you know, being
Mm-hmm.
from used to being a nerd or whatever. Now you on your shit, you pop your shit. You feel me? So
you said you was gonna get us some unreleased. We're gonna put on here at the end of the episode. We're gonna put on here. So,
I mean, yeah, we could do that.
I'm saying,
okay.
But I don't know what you want to give us. Like,
what's the name of the songs that you're gonna be giving us? What we dropping?
So like I said,
you don't gotta give us too much. Just you can give us one of them.
You got Let Me Vent. You got Steve Stefan. You got Karma.
Okay.
Karma is like, I ain't gonna lie, that's probably like one of my favorites. Cause it really just dig deep. If you want to really, I feel like all my songs describe me, who I am.
Of course.
But I feel like Karma really gives you that background of what I've been through and where I'm at now. I said somewhere there like, Karma, they say this shit I do gonna get right back to me. A lot of my bitch so much, she started to do the shit back to me. Heard he wanted me dead, but he ain't know it got back to me. You ever cross me, better be careful how you turn your back to me. Soon as I came home, somehow police attention got back on me. Try to throw me back in that station and put them handcuffs back on me. Ain't no way I'm going back to that. I put that on me. Yeah, I put that on me. But I broke it down. I said, yeah, I remember times I could take them back to. Was 19 in that cell. Them COs was stomping me out in them black suits. Blood tear on the max unit. Bunch of dime moves yelling was bragging to me. And jump off the porch, I got pushed off. That mean I had to do it. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
But it's just a little, you know what I'm saying? Just a little
that might be the
snippet.
one. That might be the one, right? So, because that goes with how did we get here?
Yeah, and
Karma.
honestly, that's
gonna be the one right there.
As we're gonna end the episode, we're gonna listen to his music. We definitely gonna play his music at the end. So,
Sure.
Mar, you have any final thoughts? We gonna wrap this up.
Nah, man. Listen,
This is for the fathers.
Yeah.
All the days.
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day
man.
to all the fathers. Whether you're, in your child's life or trying to be in your child's life, just, happy Father's Day to you.
Happy Father's
Be
Month.
present. Be present. Be positive and, make for good. Help push things forward. That's what I say.
And shout out to all the zaddies out there, okay? All the niggas that be zaddies and shit and zaddying. We love y'all. All right?
See, here you go.
This one
Thank
right
you.
here.
Thank you,
I fuck
HD.
with y'all.
HD, we thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having
We appreciate
me,
you,
man.
HD Picasso.
Yes, thank
Right.
you so much for coming.
Got the artist
y'all
himself,
having me,
Mr. Picasso, the artist himself. We appreciate and love you, brother. Many successes to you. We pray that everything works out for you and your family, and continue to be the great man that you are today.
I appreciate that, and I pray and I hope that this podcast takes off to the moon and beyond.
I appreciate that, man.
It is.
Appreciate that. We're going to get you a NASA suit. We're going to get you a NASA suit so you can come visit us.
Okay.
Real
Okay.
talk, I like that.
You know what I mean?
That's going to be it, y'all. We will see y'all next time, and we are out.
Fire.
Period.
So we want to get a